Israel's Iron Dome system was introduced into service 10 years ago and was developed by two Israeli defense firms with financial and technical assistance from the United States. Designed to intercept short-range rockets and mortars, the system uses radar to detect inbound threats and deploys interceptor rockets to detonate in the air to destroy incoming missiles. The Israeli military has deployed 10 batteries of the Iron Dome system across the country and credits the system with greatly reducing casualties from rocket attacks. But since Monday, militant groups in Gaza, run by the Palestinian Islamist movement Hamas, have been firing rockets into Israel, and Israel has responded by hitting targets in the territory. The Israeli military was wondering whether its Iron Dome missile defense system needs to be improved after 5 Israeli civilians were killed in missile attacks. The system, which Israeli officials say has a 90% interception rate, has already avoided heavy loss of life in Tel Aviv, Ashkelon and other cities, which became a focal point for Hamas as it sought to overwhelm air defenses. Israeli analysts said that for some time, intelligence sources had been warning that Hamas had significantly improved its weaponry to the extent that it could pierce the Iron Dome shield. If Hamas has more of those longer-range rockets, this could impact Israel's plans for this round of violence, and especially the question of how long it wants it to last. The scale of this week's rocket barrages have been unprecedented, with around 1,000 missiles fired at longer ranges to challenge the capabilities of the Iron Dome system. The unprecedented intensity of the rocket fire, which in some cases was trained deliberately on individual towns and cities, marks a new tactic by Hamas and Islamic Jihad to try to overwhelm the Iron Dome system. Since the last major conflict in 2014, the militants have been increasing both the size of their arsenal and the capabilities of their rockets. However, Israel says that its costly defense system is worth every penny. The rockets are not outsmarting the Iron Dome. The Iron Dome is outstanding in its capacity to adapt to new techniques and to new methods by the enemies.
Coverage of the ongoing conflict in Israel has featured recurring images like this: missiles streaming across the sky and exploding midair. These are missiles from Israel's Iron Dome missile defense system, a land-based system that intercepts and destroys short-range rockets and mortars. It has become a bedrock of the country's defense since its introduction in 2011. And in the current round of hostilities, Israel's military said the system has intercepted more than 200 of the more than 1,000 rockets fired towards Israel as of May 12th. Here's how the complex detection and interception system works. The system is powered by missile defense batteries, each containing 3 main components. These batteries can defend across short-range rocket and mortar attacks within almost 45 miles of the battery. They are also mobile, so they can be moved to where they are needed. First, a radar unit detects an incoming rocket and relays information about its speed and trajectory to the battery's control center. The control center's computers calculate if the rocket is going to hit populated areas. If it is, a missile is fired from the launcher. Each launcher contains 20 interceptor missiles. Each receives constant guidance updates from the control center and its internal radar. The missile destroys the incoming rocket by exploding near it. The goal is to do this far away from populated areas, minimizing damage on the ground. The defense system has intercepted over 2,400 rockets bound for civilian areas since its launch in 2011, according to an Israeli military spokesperson. During a conflict in 2012, the Iron Dome knocked down 421 rockets launched from Gaza and bound for Israeli cities before a November ceasefire. And during the 2014 war in Gaza, it intercepted 700 rockets fired by Islamist movement Hamas, a 90% success rate that effectively blunted the Palestinian group's aerial threat. The United States has provided hundreds of millions of dollars in funding for the system, and has also bought and is testing 2 Iron Dome batteries of its own. And Israel has expanded the defense system by installing missile batteries on ships, and the system is in the midst of being upgraded to combat the threat posed by unmanned drones. As the current conflict continues, so will the use of the Iron Dome.
I've traveled to Ashkelon, a coastal city just south of Tel Aviv that nudges up against the Gaza Strip.
What we're seeing here right now is the launcher. Each launcher has 20 missiles on it. You can see the red light flashing, which means it's armed and ready.
Here, one of the dozen or so Iron Dome batteries sits at the ready to intercept missiles and provide Israel with a type of shield from aerial attacks.
I'm the Iron Dome commander.
Lieutenant Colonel Iran Cohen oversees its operation.
Is this as close as we get, or do we get...
This is as close as we get.
It took just 3 years and about $200 million to develop this defense system. It relies on a radar that instantly detects when a missile has been fired. Algorithms quickly try to determine what type of projectile is in the air and whether it's heading for a populated or strategic area. If so, Iron Dome launches a missile of its own. It's said that Iron Dome has taken down more than 1,000 missiles since it turned on in 2011, with a 90% success rate. Some people question the accuracy of these figures. What's clear, though, is that the algorithms capable of directing projectiles while performing a cost-benefit analysis on human life are among the most advanced in the world. This network of launchers is highly mobile and constantly on the move. This site, like many, is temporary.
Everything you see here can be moved out in a matter of hours. And we move around a lot to make sure nobody knows where we are all the time.
Unless you live here, it's difficult to imagine just how much this technology has transformed the lives of ordinary Israelis.
I can tell you from my own personal experience, sitting in my own house and seeing rockets fired towards my house and operating this incredible system and succeeding. With the Iron Dome, when you see your house that you're protecting and your family and your friends and your soldiers, it's a sense of great sense of pride.
For many Palestinians, Iron Dome means something else. It's just the most visible part of an expansive Israeli security apparatus that includes drones, checkpoints, and espionage technology. Those tools have been put to immediate use in the West Bank, Gaza, and throughout Israel. Terrorist bombings have declined. Missiles have met their match. But lower-tech forms of protest, like stabbings, are now on the rise.